A quick timeline of Germany history. To understand Germany is to understand a concept as much as a country. Its history is not a straight line but a complex, often contradictory tapestry woven from threads of empire, fracture, philosophy, industry, devastation, and renewal. A quick timeline of Germany is a journey through the very heart of Europe, a story where geography becomes destiny and where the question, "What is Germany?" has elicited 1,000 different answers across 2 millennia. This is not merely a list of dates and rulers, but an exploration of the forces that shaped a volatile and brilliant nation. The ancient foundations, Germania and the Holy Roman Empire. Our story begins not with a nation, but with a name given by others. The term Germani was first used by Roman authors like Julius Caesar to describe the myriad of tribes east of the Rhine and north of the Danube. Fierce, decentralized peoples like the Cherushi, the Saxons, and the Franks. The pivotal moment that etched these tribes into history was the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest in 9 AD. Here, the Germanic chieftain Arminius annihilated 3 Roman legions, permanently establishing the Rhine River as the limit of Roman expansion. This event created a fundamental divide: the Romanized, Latin west of Europe, and the Germanic, tribal world to the east. A cultural fault line that would resonate for centuries. As the Roman Empire crumbled, these Germanic tribes moved west. The Franks, under the Merovingian and later Carolingian dynasties, established a powerful kingdom. The crowning of Charlemagne as Emperor of the Romans by Pope Leo III on Christmas Day, 800 AD, was a moment of profound consequence. He forged a multi-ethnic empire that encompassed much of modern France and Germany. This act revived the idea of a Western Roman Empire, a Christian entity destined to rule Europe. But upon his death, the empire was divided by his grandsons in the Treaty of Verdun, 843 AD. The eastern portion, Francia Orientalis, ruled by Louis the German, is the true territorial precursor to Germany. The title of Holy Roman Emperor would become the central political entity for German lands for the next 1,000 years. But it was an empire in name only. The Holy Roman Empire of the German nation, the endless fracture. In 962, Otto I of Saxony was crowned emperor, formally founding the Holy Roman Empire. This was not a nation-state as we know it, but a loose, fragmented confederation of hundreds of semi-independent entities, prince-bishoprics, duchies, free imperial cities, and kingdoms, all theoretically loyal to the elected emperor. This political decentralization is the single most important key to understanding German history. While France and England were centralizing power under strong monarchies, Germany was moving in the opposite direction. The Golden Bull of 1356 formalized this by establishing the 7 prince-electors who would choose the emperor, often from the Habsburg dynasty, making the position dependent on the prince's support. This period was not one of stagnation, however. German cities flourished in the Hanseatic League, a powerful northern trade confederation. The invention of the printing press by Johannes Gutenberg around 1440 revolutionized communication and thought, setting the stage for the next great rupture. In 1517, a German monk, Martin Luther, nailed his 95 Theses to a church door in Wittenberg, triggering the Protestant Reformation. This was not just a religious event, it was a political earthquake. The ensuing conflicts, culminating in the devastating 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, which reduced the German population by a third, cemented the empire's fragmentation. The Peace of Westphalia in 1648 granted individual states the right to choose their own religion and conduct their own foreign policies, rendering the emperor a figurehead. Germany became a mere geographical expression, a battleground for the wars of Europe's true powers. Enlightenment, Napoleon, and the awakening of nationalism. The Holy Roman Empire was finally put out of its misery by an outsider. Napoleon Bonaparte's conquests rearranged the German map. He dissolved hundreds of tiny states and created the Confederation of the Rhine in 1806, effectively ending the ancient empire. French occupation brought the ideas of the French Revolution, liberalism, nationalism, legal reform, which were both resisted and admired. The shared experience of fighting Napoleon, exemplified by the Wars of Liberation, sparked the first real flames of a unified German nationalism. Thinkers like Johann Gottfried Herder began to speak of the folk, a unique people bound by language and culture. After Napoleon's defeat, the Congress of Vienna, 1815, created the German Confederation, a weak association of 39 states dominated by the conservative Austrian Empire. The desire for unity and liberal reform, however, could not be suppressed. The revolutions of 1848 saw liberals and nationalists rise across Germany, even forming a Frankfurt parliament to draft a constitution for a unified state. But the revolution failed, lacking military power and divided over whether to include Austria, Großdeutschland, or exclude it, Kleindeutschland. The stage was now set for a different kind of unification, not one achieved by speeches and majority votes, but by iron and blood. The Second Reich. Iron, blood, and industry. The master of realpolitik, Otto von Bismarck, the minister-president of Prussia, understood that force, not idealism, would unite Germany. Through a series of 3 calculated wars against Denmark, 1864, Austria, 1866, and France, 1870–71, he engineered a German nation under Prussian leadership. On January 18, 1871, in the Hall of Mirrors at the Palace of Versailles, King Wilhelm I of Prussia was proclaimed German emperor. The Second Reich was born. This new Germany was a federal state, but one where Prussia was overwhelmingly dominant. Bismarck's domestic policy was a balancing act. He created the world's first modern welfare state to appease the working class while simultaneously persecuting socialists and Catholics. Kulturkampf. Internationally, he sought to secure the new empire's position through a complex web of alliances designed to keep France isolated and prevent a war on 2 fronts. After Bismarck's dismissal in 1890 by the impulsive young Kaiser Wilhelm II, Germany pursued world politics, aggressively seeking its place in the sun through a massive naval buildup and colonial expansion. This destabilized the European balance of power, creating a system of rigid alliances that turned a regional crisis, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in 1914, into the cataclysm of World War I. Germany's defeat in 1918 led to the Kaiser's abdication and the birth of a fragile democracy. Weimar, collapse, and the Third Reich. The Weimar Republic was born from defeat and the hated Treaty of Versailles, which imposed massive reparations and the war guilt clause. It was an era of incredible cultural and scientific flourishing, the time of Einstein, Bauhaus, and Marlene Dietrich, but also of perpetual political and economic crisis. Hyperinflation in 1923 wiped out savings, and the Great Depression after 1929 led to mass unemployment. This chaos created a fertile ground for extremism. Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party NSDAP promised national restoration, economic recovery, and scapegoated Jews, communists, and others for Germany's ills. Exploding democratic weaknesses, Hitler was appointed chancellor in January 1933. He quickly dismantled democracy, establishing a totalitarian state. His policies of aggressive expansion, Lebensraum, and racial ideology led directly to World War II in 1939 and the Holocaust Shoah. The systematic industrialized murder of 6 million Jews and millions of other victims. Germany's defeat in 1945 was total and catastrophic. The country was in ruins, its cities bombed, its population decimated, and its moral standing obliterated. The unparalleled horror of the Holocaust left a permanent stain and a profound responsibility that would become the foundation of modern German identity. Division in the Cold War. 2 Germanys. As agreed by the Allies, Germany was divided into 4 occupation zones. The emerging Cold War between the Soviet Union and the Western powers, US, UK, France, split the country in 2. In 1949, 2 separate states were founded, the Federal Republic of Germany, FRG, West Germany, in the West, a capitalist democracy, and the German Democratic Republic, GDR, East Germany, in the East, a Soviet-style communist dictatorship. The Berlin Wall, erected in 1961, became the concrete and barbed wire symbol of this division, a brutal measure to stop the brain drain of East Germans fleeing to the West. For over 40 years, the two Germanys lived as frontline states of the Cold War, developing starkly different societies. West Germany experienced an economic miracle, Wirtschaftswunder, and steadily integrated into the West through NATO and the European Economic Community. East Germany became the most prosperous state in the Eastern Bloc, but was defined by the Stasi secret police and the suppression of freedom. Reunification in the modern republic. The collapse of communism in 1989, symbolized by the fall of the Berlin Wall on November 9th, was a peaceful revolution driven by the people of East Germany. With the Soviet Union weakening, the path to unity opened. On October 3, 1990, now celebrated as German Unity Day, the GDR formally acceded to the Federal Republic of Germany. Reunification was not merely a political act. It was a colossal economic, social, and psychological project that continues to this day. Integrating the bankrupt East into the prosperous West cost trillions of euros and required a fundamental transformation of an entire society. Modern Germany, having